You are going to hear creaking audio, and you can hear me. Had to do a little different audio setup today, so you're going to hear me just fine. No, Mr. Rodriguez, I am not God. All right, while we're waiting for the countdown to finish, who do we got in the chat today? I know that we've got Tim Postma. He says he's got to go to watch the football game today, and I'm not going to hold up anybody through the football game. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. We got Gary T, Mark L. Baker. Hello, Snapshot FPV, 3D HP, my good friend Jerry Knapp. We've got Ben E. Brady in the house, Rex Waldy, good friend, Note. Who else we got? We got Andy Mock. We got Luis Rodriguez, Eric Anderson. Who else we got here? Let me just see. Tripods Garage is here. Hello. DeWitt 3D, good afternoon. Dominic Versetto, welcome, welcome. We have Lori. Lori is somebody new. Welcome, Lori, welcome. Yeah, I know you can't see me, but you will be able to see me very, very soon. Very soon. In about 2 seconds, you're going to be able to see me. Matt Gurman, hello. We got lots of people. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss anything that we do on this show each and every week. I'll explain what we do because we got some new people today. Nope, where are we here? Why don't we have a screen? We have no screen. Why do we have no screen? Why does it go to back? Oh, you guys should be able to see me, yes? Yeah, you guys can see me. I know what's going out. Joseph Jolly, hello, sir. There we go, I'm here. Lori Ranero, welcome again, Lori. My name's Richard. I'm the host here every Sunday afternoon. And what we do here is we talk about 3D printing and I answer your questions about 3D printing, whether that be hardware, software, or problems you may be having with material. You can ask me those questions and I'm happy to answer them. If I don't have an answer, I'm going to go and try and find it for you, and then we can discuss it a little bit later on. The man in the lab coat, this is going to get technical. I'm always in a lab coat now. I started 2023 with this lab coat. Let's talk about this for a second. Why did I get a lab coat? I've always wanted a lab coat for this show. It took me 5 years to actually get one that actually fit, because I'm a fat guy. Mike Brown, hello. And yeah, I like it. I think it kind of suits me. Don't you? I think it kind of suits me now that I'm getting longer hair and a scruffier face. Dr. Richard is in the house. Yes, I am in the house. And today we're going to talk about your issues with 3D printing. I had some issues this week with 3D printing. My Prusa Mark III back here. We got it in the enclosure. It started printing really good. It was printing some parts for the new Voron build, which we're going to talk about today. Then it just started acting up. And it was grabbing material off the bed, and it was just making a mess. I didn't get any clogs, thank heaven. I didn't end up with any big snot balls on the bottom because I kept a pretty close eye on it. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. So that's something to keep in mind. But why did it happen? I think because the nozzle itself is just a little worn. I've had this thing running now for well over a year, and I haven't changed out the nozzle. And we'll talk a little bit about why changing your nozzles about once a year, 6 months to a year, can be beneficial for you. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today too. Ben Brady says, it's the mad scientist. Well, I'm mad. I'm a little crazy. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of what we're going to get into today. So the Prusa, I got to get back to it. I got to spend some time with it this week. I'm going to work on figuring out what's going on. If I got to put a new nozzle on it, I've got another nozzle that I can use anyway. We've got, this week I'm going to try and finish up that video on Simplify 3D versus Cura, because Simplify 3D had an update, which threw the video that I had almost completed right into the garbage because there were some changes that either benefit or don't benefit it. So I want to make sure that I give you guys the most accurate information that I can, and that's part of what my other shows are all about, is giving you the most accurate information that I can. 3D HP says Richard Cleveland, the first layer guy. Or Bill Nye, Tim Postma says, I'm not a Bill Nye guy, that's for sure. Let's get to Tim Postma's first question today. I need a pocket protector. The funny thing is that this particular one has the pocket on the inside, not on the outside. So there's no pocket protectors. That just looks like I'm touching myself in bad ways. And I'll get demonetized. Hey, there's KC Steck One. Hello. RT, hello. Mike Brown, hello. Yeah, just great. Make sure that you guys hit that like button. It really helps out the metrics a lot. At the end of the day, it helps to get this show seen by more people and more eyes, because this does go up for review for people later on. So where were we? Okay, let's get back to Tim Postma's question. He says, do I need to dry PC CPE, or is it hydroscopic or hydrophobic? Polycarbonate, you should dry. Yes. I would say yes, you should dry it, just because of the nature of the material that you're using. So yes, it is somewhat hydrophobic, but it's more hydroscopic than it is hydrophobic. No, it's not inside out because the other pockets are on the outside. See, they're right there. They're right there. So it's not inside out. See, everybody just thinks I wear my clothes backwards. I don't. Hey, there's Nuru. I'll get that right yet. I want to talk to you guys quickly a little bit about a new company. And I'm just going to pull them up here. Here we go. Now, these guys are called 3D Lab Tech. You'll see that we've got a logo for them right here. I will put them in the description a little bit later on. 3D Lab Tech is a company that is an online retailer. They sell a lot of parts. They do sell some filaments. They are trying to get a wider range of filaments in. They're a fairly new company, but they do have a lot of essential parts. For anybody that's building a 3D printer, they don't technically sell right now 3D printer lines, but they do have a lot of the Voron materials that you would need, whether you're in Canada or the US. And they're located right here in Calgary, and I really want to give them a shout out. They are going to be a sponsor on our upcoming Voron build. I am building another Voron 2.4, this time the R2 version. And this will be, again, another 300 by 300. I want to give you all a quick update on our community member, Peter Reynolds, who is not doing well in hospital. Chances are he won't be coming out of hospital I was up to see him on Thursday. He thanks everybody for their well wishes that have given him well wishes, both over on Facebook and in our community here on YouTube. And I want to thank you for opening up your hearts and keeping him in your thoughts. He's been a very good friend of mine. I met him through this hobby. He actually showed up on our live stream one Sunday and found out that I was right here in Calgary and asked me if I could come and help him with a 3D printer that he was having trouble with. I went over, I helped him. We became very good friends, fast friends, and we hung out a lot together over the years. And I hope that he does make it out, but I know the reality of the situation, and my thoughts and my heart is with him at this time. So, and with his lovely wife, who I've had the pleasure of meeting several times. Sally's a wonderful lady. She's not in the hobby, but my thoughts are with her as well, and with his son and daughter. So, what do we got going on here? It says the lab coat must have been in the clearance bin. No, it wasn't in the clearance bin. It's actually designed with the pocket on the. You guys are just all about my lab coat. The pocket is designed on the inside so that your pens and things don't fall out when you bend over, which I think was a great idea. Hydrophobia is rabies, isn't it? Could be. Should be at least 25 likes for 25 watching. I agree with you on that one, Nuru. I totally agree. Hey, there's David Harmon. I haven't seen David around for a long time. No, I don't have rabies. Oh, it's the symptoms of rabies. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for your prayers for him. Okay, where are we? All right, let's get into the Voron build that's up and coming. We've got some stuff in. We have some sponsors for this build. Right now we have the Masumi rails are here. 3D Lab Tech is going to be helping us out with all of our pulleys and our belts. So they're helping us out with that. We have Fadus is sending us their Fadus X Voron High Flow for this build. We've got Big Tree Tech is sending us all of the electronic boards. So we'll be putting in their Manta M8P board, I believe, with the CB1 board, add-on board, as well as we will be using their 5-inch touchscreen and their new EBB SB2209 hot end board for the stealth burner. We are going to be putting a stealth burner on this. We also have LDO has kicked in all of the motors and the hardware kit that we need. So all of our screws and things like that, they are helping us out with that. And they are also throwing in a E3D Revo Voron hot end. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to take the high flow hot end and I'm going to put it onto Peter's Voron, which I have here in the studio now, and I'm trying to get it all fixed back up. It probably will never be leaving the studio, but one of the things that I want to do with the Voron 300 that I'm doing is that will be a dedication build, and at the end I'm going to be putting a plaque on there dedicating that particular printer to our good friend Peter Reynolds. Yeah, we do hope that he gets back into good health real soon. Let's see what I missed here. It's not simple, a beaker or of beer. I do need a beaker of beer. Actually, I'm not much of a beer drinker. I'm a Jack Daniels drinker. Hey, there's 3D Medic Vince. Welcome. Haven't seen you here in a long time, buddy. But then again, I haven't been here. 3D Experiments is asking which Voron. I'm going to build the Voron 300 millimeter. 2.4 R2. I'm not going to be doing the Triton or the Trident because our good friend Tim over at DeWitt 3D Canada, who is another channel I want you guys to go and check out. Tim is moving forward. He's not quite at 2,000 subscribers yet. We got to get him over that 2,000 subscriber mark real soon. So if you are not on his subscriber list, please go and put yourself on his subscriber list. Tim, I'd like you to put your link in the chat so that people can go and sub to your channel. We also have Jerry over at 3DHP. Now, Jerry is a very interesting and cool guy. I met Jerry again back when I started this channel, a little over 5 years ago now. He was kind of one of my first subscribers. Jerry, very cool guy, lives in Las Vegas, has his own YouTube channel, and each week he does a maker roundtable where he talks to different makers from around the world, and some of them are some of the coolest guys you're going to meet. Tripod's Garage is on there usually every week. Sam Prentice, the real Sam Prentice, you can find on there from week to week. Myself, you'll find on there at times, as well as you will find a number of other great people as well. So I want you to go check that out as well. DeWitt's got in there. 3DHP, Jerry, I want you to put your link in the chat as well. People can go ahead and just subscribe to him as well. Tim Postma's question is, which is better, Tinkercad or Fusion 360? Well, they're both made by the same company, Tim. Tinkercad is what I would think of as your jumping off point to kind of learn the CAD program. And then those skills that you learn in Tinkercad, you can port over to Fusion 360 because they're both parametric modeling programs. So I would start with Tinkercad and then I would graduate up. Our RT, my good friend Richard Taylor, says, is it better to print PETG in an enclosure? No, it is not. Not necessarily. You want to make sure that if you are in an enclosure with PETG, that you have some sort of ventilation and some air movement through there. The reason I say that is because PETG, first of all, has no smell. B, because of the ambient air, it's not likely to shrink or crack like ABS does. ABS definitely needs an enclosure, but PETG does not need an enclosure. It's almost 3D printing season, just like 4 or more weeks away. Yes, it is almost 3D printing season there, Tim. What do you guys think of the 3D printed RC plane in recent Prusa YouTube video? Really think about printing one. Don't know about lightweight PLA. Nuru. I'm going to get that right. Nuru, what I would say is I really like the idea. I've seen a lot of 3D printed planes out there. The lightweight PLA is definitely what you want to go for because it a little different formulation, so it adds a lot of air in the actual build of your wings and your fuselage and things like that. So it's actually quite light compared to regular PLA, and it's definitely the way to go about using it. Hey, there's our good friend Golden Jaguar 3D. Welcome to the show. David Harmon, it's a good guy. Follow him up. Yes. Tim's a good guy. Yes, he is a very good guy. Gary T says they're some of the weirdest people you'll meet. We are some of the weirdest people you'll meet. Hey, there's 3D Experiments. Focus drifting at DeWitt 3D Canada. Wow. He's not focus drifting. He's not drifting. Tim, if you can put, yeah, there we go. Gary put it in there, 3D HP. Thank you, Gary. I think Blender's also a very good program, but it's a little tougher to learn than Tinkercad, I think. 3D Experiments likes Onshape. Again, Onshape, little different than Tinkercad. I think Tinkercad is probably the best for people that are just learning how to do parametric modeling, and kind of get their head wrapped around some of the aspects. Oh, my focus is drifting. Okay. Thanks for that, 3D Experiments. Yeah. Yeah, my focus does drift. Squirrel. I have that problem. Let's just see. 3D HP. Yeah, we've done rockets on the show. We have a couple of episodes where we did some rockets, and we just did those. The funny thing is that I did those first of all out of PETG, and then I also did them over out of a mixture of PETG and some ABS elements. The rockets all flew fine. We started with little rockets, no bigger than my water bottle here. And then we went to ones that were about 3 feet long, 2.5 to 3 feet long. And those things were great. I absolutely loved them. So it was one of those fun experiments that we did. I gave all of those rockets away. I don't have any more, but I am going to do more rockets. I'll probably do some this summer. I also want to get into doing some more RC stuff. I'd like to do the RC Formula One, the Open RC car as well. Kind of show you guys how to do that. I'm trying to get into more practical printing applications, not just tchotchkes. I mean, I've got tons of little tchotchkes around here, little statuettes, that sort of thing. I want to do something that's a little bit more practical, whether you're into robotics, RC, whether you might be into rocketry, whether you might be into any other hobby, even if you're into woodworking. I want to show you how to use tools, how to use a 3D printer in your woodworking as well. Eric Anderson, Tinkercad is easy. Yes, yes. Camera focus. Is my camera focus going out? Shouldn't be going out. Should not be going out at all. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. I'm going to turn that off now. But yeah, 3D Lab Tech, I want you to check those guys out. We're going to get back to 3D Lab Tech. They're going to be, we're going to be talking about them more and more every week. We're going to put a link down to them in our description after the show as well. Gary T says, for me, Blender used to have a learning curve like the side of Mount Everest. Yeah, Blender, again, is one of those programs that takes a little bit more time to learn. That's why I always say start with something simple like Tinkercad. Joseph Jolly, the plain print has several models in the download and print. I've printed the Seagull, came out good, used lightweight PLA. That's good to hear. Dominic Versetto says OpenSCAD is cool. I think OpenSCAD is one of those you really gotta learn it a little bit more. Dominic Versetto or not Dominic, who is asking this question? Guy the Jedi says Clipper or Marlin. I will be honest with you. I do like Clipper. I think it's a better interface. It's easier to manipulate, especially on the back end, than Marlin is. So I think Clipper for me would be the way to go. Yeah, absolutely. Snapshot FPV, he says, been looking for a better NCC 1701D model and found some, but when I loaded into Cura, they are huge. Had to shrink to less than 2% to get it on the bed. Why? I'll tell you, because a lot of these guys take these models from already existing digital models. They convert them into STLs, and they don't realize how big they actually are. Some of the plans that are starting to come up online are made from very, very large digital models because the studio scale models were very large. And that's kind of what they're going by. So shrinking them down to 2% to fit under your bed, that's probably why. They're meant to be cut up. How about a drone and a robot? Tim Postma, that's a good idea. I've never done a drone. Eric says, Fusion 360 is top hardest to learn. I don't know about that. It might be tough for some people. I will give you that for sure. 3D Experiment says, I say bite the bullet, learn the more compatible CAD program from the start. I found Onshape less buggy than Fusion 360. Both have their pros and cons, so that's a good point. 3DHP says, you're really sharp and once in a while goes a little blurry, then comes right back. I think that's probably has to do with the stream itself. Focus, switch to the circular lamp behind you. Oh, let me just turn that off then. There, we turn that off. This one shouldn't be auto-focusing, which is odd. I wish I could get a Neptune 3 Max. I need a big printer, Ben's saying. Eric says OpenSCAD is for programmers, and I would agree to that to some degree, yeah. Tim Postma, how do I uncorrupt an STL? Don't use it. If it's a corrupt STL, chances are there's something else going on there. So I would not use it. There's SPC3D. Hello, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Clipper costs too much. Raspberry Pi. Yeah, Dominic, I would say that you're not completely wrong on that. I would say that the Raspberry Pis now are very expensive. If you can find used ones on eBay, that's probably a good way of doing it. Getting the ones on eBay are cheaper, but again, you're not going to get exactly what you want. You run that risk, of course. But I think Raspberry Pis are going to start coming back down again, probably by the second quarter of this year. There's no way there's a chip shortage anymore. What we are running into, and I've talked about this in previous weeks, is we're running into a raw material shortage for things like PLA, because the raw material is now being used to make more environmentally friendly things like food packaging and straws and things like that. So for us guys on the hobby end of 3D printing, our material right now is getting really tough to find, or get it in the colors that we want, because some companies won't have it available. Let's see. Richard, I can help you with the drone stuff. Snapshot. I would be happy to talk to you more about doing a drone. I've never done one. So Alexander Otto, welcome, sir. Welcome. I'll wait for you to send me your credit card number, Benny. Brady says. Yeah, I'm not sending my credit card number. Nope. I don't even use a credit card, to be perfectly honest with you. I do not. Wow, a half an hour's gone by already. Holy Christmas. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about what we've got coming up here. I got a request from Tim Postma recently to do a review on the FlashForge something 3, and I can't remember what the first part of it is. Tim, you can probably remind me. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Jim makes a good point there. Tim Postman makes a good point. He sent me an article recently about a company here in North America. Actually, they're down in the U.S. They make the Ingeo. They're called NatureWorks LLC. NatureWorks is responsible for producing PLA pellets that go to different manufacturers to make the PLA. They just broke ground on a new factory that they're building in Thailand, which according to the article just broke ground, so it won't even be up and running until 2024. So that's not pulling the material away from us at this point, or the raw material, but it will be where they are manufacturing. I'm not a big fan of moving stuff overseas to get it done, but I think they are keeping their factory here in the U.S., or in the U.S. I'm in Canada, but they're going to keep their factory in the U.S., but they are also opening up a factory in Thailand to service their European customers. So everybody that's over on that side of the pond. The FlashForge Finder 3. Yes, Tim asked me if I could do a review on the FlashForge Finder 3. Now, the Finder 3 is the name that was put on that particular printer in the UK and other countries out east. Here in North America, it is called the Artemis. And I actually have an Artemis sitting over by my day-to-day computer, and I will be doing a review on the Artemis very soon. It was sent to me late last year. I did some B-roll on it, and then some things happened, and I was not able to finish it health-wise. So I am going to get that video out. I like the printer. I think it's a good printer. It's built well. It has some claims that I'm a little skeptical on because it is not an enclosed machine. Alexander Otto, has anyone in chat made a polymaker or some kind of machine that turns bottles into filament? No, but you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, Alexander, because Tim and I from DeWitt 3D, we have actually talked about that a little bit. And I also talked with Andy, the owner of 3D Lab Tech, and that's these guys right here. I just recently talked to Andy from 3D Lab Tech, and he has all the parts to make one. So we may actually make one and test it out here on the show at some point in time in the very near future. Guy the Jedi, Libra computer board, ALM, 2 gig computer for 4K media, $35 on Amazon, and can run Clipper. That's actually really cool. Guy the Jedi actually brings up a good point. I was in a chat the other day, or I was watching a live stream the other day, and the topic came up of where are we going next with 3D printing. Now, my belief is that we're going to see 32-bit boards become the 8-bit boards that we had previous. We're going to move into a 64-bit architecture. I'm sure of it. And that may be by the end of this year. I can see that happening. What I would like to see, one of the things that was brought up was an all-in-one where you could do your slicing and you could do your importation and all that kind of stuff right on the machine. Now, the one thing that kind of struck me about that, being a guy who has done a lot of work with computers over the years, I would say that with the way that computers are being made much smaller, now you can buy a NUC, or you can buy like an Intel NUC, you can buy an AMD, kind of the equivalent to that. They're very small computers. They're no bigger than a couple of packs of cigarettes, if you remember smoking back in the day. And they've got a lot of power. You can go up to 32 gigs of RAM on these things. They will run with an i7 or i9 processor at the high end. You can go as low down as a Celeron processor, depending on what you want to do. They have the capability of video, so they have just like a Raspberry Pi. They have everything that you need, minus the controller for your 3D printer. If somebody were to take that and combine all that, you would be able to technically take a small screen, like a 10-inch or 12-inch screen, mount it to your 3D printer, and do everything right there. So you wouldn't need a separate computer. You would not need any other peripherals other than some sort of input device like a keyboard or a mouse. But you could have all that as part of your 3D printer. I think with the way that Bamboo Labs has kind of taken this next step, in my mind, what they did was they took the best of kind of everything that's right now available and put it into the pot, and out came the Carbon X1. With that being said, there's still a ways that they can go. There's still only 32-bit architecture. Yes, they have a wonderful slicer, but their ecosystem is now become quite closed. I think that if we open that up and we can take a PC and incorporate it into, let's use a Voron as an example. If we can pull that Raspberry Pi and we actually put in a real PC, then everything literally can be done right on that printer. All we would have to do is add our keyboard, our mouse, plug in our network connection, and everything's right there. We could run Clipper directly off of that. We could have a storage for proper storage, whether that be NVMe storage or that be SD drive or whatever. We would have that storage available to us to save our models over a long period of time. So I think that's a really good idea. And if somebody is a manufacturer is thinking about that, that might be something to think about. Joe Velasco says, plastic bottles in California have a 10-cent deposit for each. Hard to take that value and make it into PETG filament. We have the same thing up here. We have a recycling program for pop bottles and alcohol bottles and things like that. And some cartons, like your juice comes in cartons. I don't know if you guys have that in the States, but here in Canada, we get milk in bags still up here in Canada. But you can take those in and have them recycled, and you get money back for them. Casey Steck, says, reviewed my CR20 with Marlin 1.2 with mesh leveling, and it works awesome now. Had to tweak the code a little. That's good to hear. But as long as it's working, that is great. Looks like Prusa Slicer is headed that way based upon the new features. And I agree that Prusa Slicer is headed that way as well. Let's talk about Prusa for a second. There was a video that was put out by the Next Layer recently, really complaining about Prusa and their lack of innovation in the marketplace and the price of their machines and that sort of thing. And I got to tell you that while with some of what he said, I agree with, I didn't think that a video needed to be made about it, to be perfectly honest with you. I just thought it was a rant that was unnecessary. But he did make a lot of valid points. But at the same time, Prusa is a company now that is in an expansion phase. And every company goes through this stuff. They go through an expansion phase. Then they focus back on what is important to them, their key products, and they slowly innovate. I mean, the E3D V6 was the #1 hot end for how many years before they started doing innovate or reimaginings of it, and then they had different extruders and all kinds of things. So, Guy the Jedi, if it can run Linux, it can run Clipper. That's true. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Tim Postma says, your prediction reminds me of when before we lived in a tech world, as it was not until I was 11 or 12 years old, before the first modern smartphone, and it was an iPhone. Actually, the first modern smartphone was a Motorola, if I'm not mistaken. iPhone did come out with a great product, or Apple did come out with a good product, but again, Apple changes their product every year, and it reminds me of the movie Tron. For anybody that has seen Tron Legacy, in that movie, near the beginning, they're talking about a new operating system from Encom, and one of the main characters asks, well, what makes it so different? And the CEO says, well, we just put a 12 on the box. And sometimes I feel that's what Apple does, is they just put a new number on the box. And Microsoft's no different. Guy the Jedi asked me, what color Artemis did I get? I have a blue one. I actually have a blue one. 3D Experiment says, I'm doing that now. He says, with an old Mac Mini, installing Linux, Slicer, Clipper, and using it over remote desktop connection. That's actually really cool. Devin Bonzer, welcome. You're not late. We still have lots of time. We have a half an hour yet or more. I was an appropriate video for passionate Prusa fanboy. I've always liked Prusa. I like Joe. I think Joe's an amazing guy. I think he did a really good job in helping guys like us, hobbyists, to find a way in to this hobby. And then, of course, thousands of companies, hundreds of companies came in and brought in lower price stuff that made it affordable for everybody to get into it. Just looked up, found no 1701D snapshot, says. I think we have more. Yeah, there's a lot of people ticked off about the XL being late. There was some comparison over the Prusa XL to what Simplify 3D did with version 5 and how long it took to come to market. I don't think Prusa is like that. Simplify 3D, in my mind and in my experience, pardon me, I'm getting a little dry, has never been a company that handles customer service very well. Where in contrast, Prusa as a company handles customer service really well. Simplify 3D promised a product 4 years ago and it never materialized. Then when they brought it out, there was already the idea that they were going to charge for it. So that wasn't new. I was expecting that. I was pleasantly surprised that the price was what it was for upgraders to go from 4 to 5. I was not pleased about some of the things that they implemented in terms of the licensing. They also upped the price of the product from $150 to $200, and their support seems to be lacking. I know several people here in our chat today have also said that they've had it and they've asked for their money back. I can name a couple that are in our chat today, but at the end of the day, it is still software that does what it says it does. It lives up to the claims that it makes, but is it any better than the free versions like Super Slicer, Prusa Slicer, which are almost identical? Matter Control, Cura, any of these that you can download for free. Is it worth the money? On the economic side of it, I say no. It is not worth the money. To me, it's not worth it. I would hazard to say that I would not, in any way, shape, or form, pay $200 for that software. Not today. When I got mine, it was because I was new to the hobby and I wanted something that was easy to learn, because at the time, Cura was not that functional. Prusa Slicer was basically slick 3R, and you had a whole bunch of add-ons, and it was just a nightmare to try and do. But I will say this, that Simplify 3D does what they claim it's supposed to do. Does it do it as well as some of the others? I don't think so. I don't think they did enough innovation to justify what they're charging for it. That's just my personal opinion. We got Non-Fam in the house. Hello, Non-Fam. Let's see. I'm just going to go through the chat here. Tripod was not a fan of his video. You know which video I'm talking about. I was not a fan of the video either. I thought it was a waste. It was, 10 minutes that I'm not going to get back. But that's okay. Gary T would like to see that we see more RISC-V based boards. That would be interesting to see. New phone and car models every year is a bit much. Yeah, I agree. They're a bit much. My very first cell phone was the brick in a bag. I didn't have the brick phone, but I had the bag phone. I had the Motorola bag phone. That was my first cell phone. Yeah, that's how old I am. Devin, looking for a dual extrusion printer to do multiple print at the same time, or multicolor, and thinking about upgrading my Ender 3 Pro to have dual Z access and direct drive so I can print TPU. The Ender 3 Pro dual Z axis, I'll be honest with you, Devin, I don't think that is a necessary upgrade. I can print TPU just fine on my Ender 3 back here. I've done it. You don't want to print a very stretchy TPU. You want to do something that's a little tougher. It doesn't have quite the same elasticity. But let me see. Hang on a second. I've got some here that I use that I would recommend. This is Ninja Tech TPU Cheetah TPU. This is something that I would definitely recommend. This is orange. You guys have seen me do a couple of things with this. On an Ender 3, because it does not have the same elasticity as just regular TPU, it does stretch, but it doesn't have the same elasticity. But it's great for tires and things like that. Armadillo is even better for tires if you're doing something RC-wise. Let's see. Media Man 3D. Hello, Media Man. I have always liked the way you can do manually piece supports. Other than that, I use Prusa Slicer Bamboo Studio. Media Man 3D, while he is here, Media Man 3D is the custodian now of the HeroMe Gen 7 version 2. He's actually been the custodian of the files and the revamps and such for a number of years now, a number of iterations. And we're going to be building this. I'm going to show you how to put this all together, and then we're going to put it onto the Ender 3, and then we're going to see how that works on the Ender 3 in an upcoming video. And that will be sponsored by the Media Man 3D. Just having Snap says I used to sell those phones from Radio Shack. Yeah, that's how old I am. Hello. I used to work for Radio Shack back in the day. Before cell phones were even a thing, before you could even buy those, I worked for Radio Shack. I left Radio Shack. What was the computer that they had? The Coco 2 was the computer that they had when I left. That was their number one computer at that time. Have you announced your next video yet? No, I have not announced my next video yet. Tim Postman, can I print a 3D print a rubber band? You can. I don't know why you'd want to, but you can, I suppose. I print 85A TPU through a Bowden tube on my Ender 5, Dominic says. Gary T, he says, that is why we use them in the work trucks. Better reception, yeah. Bag of Chips. Hello, Bag of Chips. I didn't notice you were here, but thank you for coming. He says, I use TPU to print tires for a model truck I did. That's cool. We have Marcel Dammer's message was retracted. Okay. Hey there, Shawdell 3D. And Marcel Dammers, how are you? How are you? Yeah. Yeah. So Snapshot and I are Radio Shack alum. Anybody else that's a Radio Shack alum, give us a thumbs up here in the chat. That would be really cool. I know that the football game is on today. I'm not a football guy. Who's playing today? The somebody Eagles and somebody else, right? I don't follow football. I know. Who doesn't follow football? I don't follow football. So I have no idea what's going on in the Super Bowl. The only time I actually watch the Super Bowl is after the Super Bowl, just to see who was in the halftime show. And I think the last halftime show I watched was the one with Katy Perry. Yeah, and the Sharks dancing in the background. Yeah, that was the last time I saw anything from the Super Bowl. I had a Sinclair computer, Dominic. Dominic is saying. Joseph Jolly knows what we're talking about. Tripod's Garage. Yep, worked at part time for about a year. Yeah, Eagles and Chiefs. 3DHP is saying. Yeah, Eagles and Chiefs today. Okay. Yeah, we're going through a little bit of a cleanup here in the studio. I tried to do a little bit of cleanup today. I pulled that big Voron 350 off my table. I think what I'm going to end up doing with that is I'm going to gut all the wiring out of it, because right now it has a problem with the heated bed. I redid the firmware on it. The heated bed is fine. It's registering temperature, ambient temperature, so the thermistor itself is working, but the actual heated pad is not heating up when you give an instruction to heat up. So I have to double check the wiring. So I'm going to probably pull all the wiring and do a simple run back to the board. Brendan Wilson, welcome, welcome, welcome. Steve G says, I still have a Sinclair computer. Andy Mock says, only spent too much time and money at Radio Shack. Also went to many store each month to get free batteries. Yeah, that was a thing. You could get free batteries from Radio Shack. That was always a good thing. And that's why I'm not wearing my lavalier microphone today, is because I left it on by accident and the battery burned out. So I need to get some more 9-volt batteries. Dominic, I used to buy electronic components from Allied Electronics before Chicago had a Radio Shack. I always bought electronic. Actually, Radio Shack is what got me into electronics. And it was Radio Shack that introduced me to brands like Koss. I don't know if you guys remember Koss, Koss. But Radio Shack had some great audio equipment too back in the day. I thought they were really, really cool. We're kind of getting off 3D printing topic here. So let's see what we got going on here. Gary T, most of my design work has been done in Tinkercad, but I am now transitioning all the Hero Me files into Fusion 360. Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. Fun fact, Mattel made a computer called the Aquarius. Well, I didn't know that. First desktop computer was a Tandy computer, Joseph Jolly says. Actually, my first real computer was a Tandy Model 1 Level 2. Yes, Model 1 Level 2. So I had the screen, I had the keyboard, and I had the base that went under it with the tape drive, and then eventually I got myself a disk drive for it. Let's go back into 3D printing. Yeah, let's get back into 3D printing. We could talk I could talk computers all day, but 3D printing is what this channel is about. So, as we talk about more and more filaments, I think we're going to see filament companies start to manufacture more. I am waiting for some Polymaker filament to show up on my doorstep. Loyal Moses, for anybody who doesn't know who Loyal Moses is, the LM show, another 3D printing channel that has popped up recently on YouTube. He's been around for a while on Twitch. He does giveaways all the time. He's got some great sponsors like Gloop, and he's got Polymaker and a few others. And he's doing Fukus. Yeah, I think that is who it is. But he's got some great sponsors over there, and he's always doing giveaways every night. He's got a great Discord. So it's something that you might want. If you want to try something, just go and check it out. It's definitely worth it. Built an Apple II clone, Andy Mock says. Brendan Wilson, my first computer was a VIC-20. My first computer was in a wooden box. I ordered it off the back of Popular Science magazine. It ended up we built it in a box, and that was my first one. Then I did get a VIC-20. VIC-20 was my next one. What's the best motherboard for a 3D printer, Tim Postman asks. There's plenty of good ones out there. There's different price ranges out there. If you want a decent board, I'm very much a fan of the Big Tree Tech line of boards, and like the Octopus, the Manta. Just go check out Big Tree Tech. They have a good quality 32-bit board, and like any other company, they have affordable rates for what they have, and I think that's definitely a way to go. Focus. I remember in Quebec, Marcel is saying, he says, I remember in Quebec, Radio Shack had tube lamp testing machine for my electronic class building. Oh, I didn't know that. That's kind of neat. Devin says, question, do you use glue on your bed for all materials and bed type? I do use glue. I use it on my glass bed, and I do use it on the bed that is on the Lulzbot, which is glass covered with PEI. I do use a glue stick there when I'm using certain materials. If it's just PLA, I print it directly onto the PEI that is there. On the Prusa over here, I only use glue stick when I'm using PETG. Other than that, I don't use glue stick at all. But to be perfectly honest, there's a lot of different polymers out there that you can use. I find it's the easiest to use glue stick. You can take it off, take it to the sink, wash it off in the sink, not have to worry about any environmental nonsense that people are all raving and ranting and raving about. I just use simple purple Elmer's glue stick that you can buy at any school supply store or office store, Office Depot, Staples, depending on where you are. I like a glass bed because I believe glass is truly flat if you buy the right glass. If you buy borosilicate glass, you're going to get a truly flat surface to print on. So it doesn't matter what your aluminum bed does as it's heating up, because it's going to change shape. You can't see that with the naked eye, but it is going to change shape, and it creates dips and valleys and peaks and valleys in the bed. So if you tried to print directly onto that aluminum, it really wouldn't work. So having a surface like a solid glass surface is great for that. I like glass. I'm a big fan of glass. Boom. Talking about that. Dominic Versetto says TH3D boards are great. I have not tried any of Tim Hoogland's boards. I haven't talked to Tim in a long time. Hey, there's Kevin Jones. Hello, and everyone else. Finally made it. A little late, though. Oh, no big deal. Yeah. We're probably going to run over it anyway. Media Man 3D, no, Aquanet hairspray is the best. Media Man 3D, if you're using Aquanet hairspray, you and I better have a talk. Don't get me started. A Snapshot says, bought some PLA Plus from Micro Center, and because you're always championing the temp tower, I grabbed the first layer FB. I do know how to make one, but grabbed yours, worked a treat. Oh, that's great. Thank you. It's not mine, but it is the one that I use, and I really like using it. Tim Postman likes Magic Goo. Magic Goo works very well. I don't mind Magic Goo. I just not a big fan of the of the cost. That's my big thing. 3D Experiment says Big Tree Tech boards are okay until you need support. Company is not very responsive. Also, their first version of boards have flaws like MakerBase, NKS overall for support. I like the MakerBase boards as well. They were around before, of course, the Big Tree boards, but Big Tree has, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but I think Big Tree has pushed the envelope a little bit more than MakerBase has, to be perfectly honest. And I keep an eye on MakerBase because they were the first boards I was buying, and I really liked them. Jaguar says, Golden Jaguar 3D says, glass with a thick PEI sheet is a great combo too. Yeah, I agree. Kevin Jones, hairspray gets everywhere. I totally agree with that. I think you are not wrong about that at all, my friend. It gets everywhere. Aquanet, speaking of printing, acetone will remove Aquanet headers. Yeah, again, acetone, electricity, yeah, none of that mixes very well. Glue stick comes off with water. It doesn't take a lot to clean it up, and you can use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol if you want. I actually found a trick recently where you take your rag, some sort of rag that doesn't have lint, a lint-free rag, and you put some alcohol on it. Then you can go over your warm bed in a circular motion, and you can level out that glue and give it a little bit more life if you need to, without having to add more. So yeah, look at that, 259. Wow, today went fast. Today went really, really, really fast. Holy Christmas. I can't believe how fast today went. Wow. I know the football game's on in half an hour, so we're going to do this. We're going to wrap things up here right away. 3D Experiments, yes, Gizmodo Dorks PEI on top of borosilicate glass is great. I agree with that. 3DHP, Jerry is saying that TH3D Studio drops in his Hangouts every few weeks. That's good to know. Bag of Chips, I've been using glue for a while, and it's easy to clean. I agree with that 100%. 3D Experiments, Golden Jaguar, I want to see that you're on your next stream. Kevin Jones, as of date, I haven't used anything on my beds. 99% alcohol is the best, basically no water. Good to know. Good to know. 3DHP says, it's an hour and a half away, the football game. Okay, well, if you guys want to stay on, I'm good to stay on for a while. I don't know about you guys. You guys want to stay on for a while? I'm going to come hang out with you in a couple hours, DeWitt. You bet I'm going to come hang out with you. Dominic says, I thought football season was over. We're wrapping up football season. I didn't turn on this camera. I should have today so that I could show you this little guy. This is one of the pieces that I printed on the Prussian. It came out absolutely beautiful in the purple ABS from Keene Village Plastics, KVP. They supplied all the plastic. That's 2 rolls of their dark gray right there, but they supplied this proper purple. Beautiful, beautiful. And it prints really well, and it's nice and strong. I think that I'm going to try and finish up doing all my parts on the Prusa for my Voron build, and Keene Village Plastics is also a sponsor of that build as well. Again, I just want to quickly remind everybody about Peter's condition. Please keep him in your thoughts and in your hearts. Take the Hero Me to show DeWitt 3D. I actually have shown him, and I will take it over to his place. DeWitt, somebody asked us the other day, how far apart are DeWitt and I. We are actually about 10 minutes from each other's front door on a car ride. So we're not too far from each other. As a matter of fact, I saw him this morning. He picked me up. I helped him move a printer this morning. So DeWitt and I are doing some great stuff. We've got Maker Faire coming up May 13th and 14th at the BMO Center. That is Maker Faire Calgary. If you are going to be in the Calgary area, we'd love to see you down there. DeWitt and I are going to be sharing 2 booths together. So we'll have a 20 by 10 booth. We're going to share that. And I'll be emceeing again this year as I did last year. Helping with doing some of the talks as well. I'll be on the loudspeaker, motivating people to get around and see all of the exhibits. But we will be hanging out together. I'll have some of the Hero Me stuff there as well, showing you how it works. We'll have some 3D prints there. Tim and I are trying to come up with some sort of idea of what we should be 3D printing now, so that we can give it away to the kids and to anybody that comes by our booth. So we've got a lot of that stuff to do together. Shawdell, no, you were joking that time. Oh, I guess I was. I don't know. Oh, we were talking about something else. Okay. I missed some of this. Yes, I will. I will take this over to him and show him. He doesn't have an Ender 3. We'll have to talk about how we can get one of these on one of his printers to try, for sure. 3D Experiments says Canada is a hotbed, pun intended, of 3D printing YouTubers. There's not as many 3D printing YouTubers here in Canada as you would think. There are a few. One of them, of course, is Nero 3D, who does a lot of Voron stuff. And there's a couple of others, but I think for the most part, I don't know many other YouTubers that are Canadian that are in our space, but there are a few, and they're mostly out east, as well as a lot of the companies that sell products are out east. Here in Calgary, we've got a couple of companies. There's a company up in Edmonton. There's a couple of manufacturers of filaments in BC, Alberta, and Ontario. Maple Leaf Makers, yeah, I think they're out of Ontario, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think they are out of Ontario. I could be wrong about that. 3D Make It are from Calgary. No, actually, 3D Make It is from Lethbridge. 3D Make It is from Lethbridge. So, but they're good friends of mine as well. I like hanging out with those guys, and I haven't seen them since the pandemic started. So it's been a good long time. So I'd like to get together with all those guys. Now, somebody said a couple of weeks ago that we should organize another meetup here in Calgary and maybe live stream it. Is that something that you guys would like to see? Would you like to see 3D Make It, DeWitt 3D, myself, and other people come together, talk about 3D printing and live stream it as a meetup? Would you guys like that? Because if that's something you'd like to see, we can make that happen between the equipment that I have and the equipment that Tim has. We can make that definitely happen. We're going to try and live stream from Maker Faire as well. Yeah, it's something that we've talked about. We're going to try and live stream from the event, both Saturday and Sunday, and we'll try and bring you guys into the action. If you're down in the States and you can't make it up for our Maker Faire, we would love to do that and just make you guys a part of our live stream. So Kevin Jones says, "Oh yeah, for sure. Yes." Joseph Jolly says, "I would love to see that." Alexander says, Stephen G, "Yes, Calgary is a bit of a drive from Dallas." Yeah, it is a bit of a drive from Dallas. DeWitt says, "Oh, hell no." Yeah, DeWitt's not shy. He'll be on camera. Calgary, Gary says, oh yeah, 3D meetup. I don't know about live streaming. I've had a face for radio. Gary, I've got a face for radio. You're much more handsome than I am. Alexander, yeah, he's in for the ride. You're right. Make a meetup a challenge. Who can print the best? Oh, who can print the best benchy? That might be a good one. I'd love to see you guys get together. Dominic says, dinner calling. Have a good evening. Have a good evening, Andy. I do appreciate you being here. V's 3D is also Canadian, I believe. I thought he was in Europe. Kevin Jones says, make it happen, Richard. I will do my best to make it happen. Yeah, V's 3D. I don't know if he's Canadian or if he's across the pond. I'll have to reach out to him. But I know that we have a Maker Faire here in Calgary coming up in May. Then there's another one in June or July in Edmonton. We've both been approached to, both DeWitt and I have been approached to go to the Edmonton one. I haven't responded yet, so I know last year I think they canceled it. So at kind of the last minute, it happens. Media Man says, I'm Canadian, just located in San Diego. Bag of Chips, he says, I've been in Calgary back in 2016 visiting family. Oh, you've got family out here, Bag of Chips. Well, then you should make a point of coming out in May 13th and 14th to be exact. V's 3D is in Quebec, Non-Fam says. Okay. Says he might be in Quebec. Okay. I don't think I've seen... Oh, wait a minute. Now that you mention that, I think I have seen some filaments.ca stuff in the background of some of his shots. Brendan Wilson says, can afford to go to any Maker Fairs as he's too far south and does not even have a 3D printer. Oh. Gary T wants to go and hang out with Steve G for the Eclipse in 2024. All right. So we're getting a little off topic, but yeah, Maker Faire is the world's largest show and tell, for lack of a better word, or analogy. I think that it's a great day to come out and check things out. See all kinds of different makers of different walks of life. It's not just 3D printers and robots. There's all kinds of different things going on there, from electronics to woodworking to, I think I was at one, they had ham radio there. Lego. Hopefully we're going to have those guys here. There are some rumors at this point. I can't give you an exact date and time, but there are rumors that a big 3D printing company might be showing up. I can't tell you exactly who they are. Can't release that information just yet, but yeah, it's really cool. So I hope that you guys will join DeWitt and myself, DeWitt 3D Canada and the First Layer at Maker Faire 2023. That's May 13th and 14th. Mark your calendars. Valentine's Day is only a couple of days away, so make sure that you're doing something sweet for the person in your life that brings you joy and love. Make sure that everything is cool and kosher and copacetic. And if you don't have anybody this Valentine's Day, well, maybe we'll do a Valentine's Day show. That would be Tuesday night, right? Yeah, Tuesday is Valentine's Day. Maybe we'll just do something on Tuesday night. Who knows? My wife and I, we're so old that Valentine's Day is just another day for us. I say I love you. She says she loves me. She goes, does what she does, and I go and do what I do. So that's what happens when you get old. Dominic says he's involved in ham. I'd love to see some ham radio guys come out again. I'd love to see some ham radio guys come out again. So again, thank you very much for being with me today. If you got something out of today's show, please hit that like button. If you were new here and you got something out of today's show, please hit that like button. And we're going to try and work to get some more giveaways that I don't have to deal with, that other companies will be giving away. And we're going to try and do that more. We're going to try and get some more sponsors on the show to help this show survive. Because this show survives basically by our community spreading the word and, hitting the like button and sharing our channel with other people. It's because of you guys that we are where we are. I looked this morning and we were only 41 subscribers away from hitting 34,000 subscribers on this channel. So please spread the word. Hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and make sure that you hit that little bell so you get notified whenever we're doing something new. I'm going to try to get back on schedule with the regular videos. We're doing more shorts, so you're going to see a little bit more of that coming up. I know that Tim's working on doing some more episodes and some more shorts on his channel, and Jerry over on 3DHP is working the same. We want to get DeWitt over 2,000, hopefully before the end of February. He's at 1,700 and change now. So if you're not a friend over there, or you haven't subscribed, please go over and subscribe. Let's help him get over that 2,000 mark. He really does a good job. So until I see you guys next time, remember that the first layer is always your foundation to a great print. And I'm going to see you again here next Sunday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Have yourselves a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl for all the football fans that are in the crowd tonight. Or this afternoon, and we'll see you guys next week. There's that screen right there. There we go. Now we just got to do this. There we go.